مش لوحدك.
You tell your teenagers, or what do you discuss with them in regards to disaster, like during disaster, and also your babysitter, because it's a very important issue as well.
Right. You know, it's interesting. Years ago, I had some customers of mine who had gone out to eat, and there was a small quake. I don't remember which one it was, and they had a babysitter at home with 3 young children. Now, most parents, when they leave babysitters or teens at home, they've got certain routine things in place, you know, the pediatrician's number, the poison control number, you know, their cell phones, whatever.
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
You know, they've taught them to dial 911. But most households do not talk to their babysitters and teens about what do you do if an earthquake. And, and this was, you know, it was brought to my attention because they had not talked to their babysitter about this. Babysitter didn't even know where the flashlights were. And had, you know, just really didn't have any idea what to do. And you know, the power went out for a little while. The kids were in the dark. They were frightened. And so, you know, people just need to go over some of the basics. Teach the kids to drop, cover, and hold on, and make sure that their babysitters know that too, so that they know what to do during the shaking, that they're not running, and they're not running outside the house during the shaking. They wait for it to stop and then carefully exit. That they know where the key supplies are, particularly in regard to lighting, because if you're in the dark and everything's moved around, there's broken glass everywhere, you're going to get hurt unless you have good lights immediately. So those are some of the things. And also, what is the plan? Let's say a babysitter or teen is home alone, and you have a situation that's occurred in the neighborhood that's serious enough that the emergency responders come through and say, we're evacuating the neighborhood. Okay, so the teen and the kids, I mean the babysitter and the kids, or the teen alone, are somehow going to have to evacuate. What is the plan for that? Are they driving yet? If not, is there a neighbor that will scoop them up or that they can go to? If first responders put them in response vehicles and take them out, how are they going to plan to reunify? Families need to talk about these things and realize that very real chance they could be separated during a disaster.
That's another point I wanted to cover, basically. What if you get you know, your cell phone is not working, the power is out, and there's no way of communicating with your family? What do you do then? There must be like a third party somewhere else where you can call and just check on your family, basically.
Well, all authorities for a very long time have recommended that people have an out-of-state contact.
Right.
And I like to look at that from a viewpoint of also networking and having kind of a lot of layers in place. For instance, if you happen to be sitting right in front of your computer when something happened and you had an uninterruptible power supply on your computer, you could pre-plan to have a notification list on your computer and send out a very quick, I'm okay, at the end of the shaking, I'm okay at this point, and, you know, I'm going to go wherever. You know, some sort of brief message that you could, you know, basically throw up really quick to a pre-designated contact list. And if the uninterruptible power supply gets it to the net will continue perhaps to distribute that because it's robust. Texting works better. Actually taking a picture of a note that says what you want to say will reduce the traffic on the lines and transfer quicker and better. The out-of-state contacts within a certain network of family or friends, for instance, in my Bible study, all of our ladies have exchanged their family information out of state with each other. So if get a message to my daughter in Washington, and I happen to know that one of my ladies is okay, or her status, I can share that with her, and she can call from Washington maybe to Virginia and tell my friend's person what their status is. So
that's a great idea.
Just think about robust networks.
That's a great idea.
And have as many options in place as possible. And for on the ground here for family members that are separated, I suggest from home, identify at least 3 locations that you might go to that take into account that you may not physically be able to get to one of them because of evacuations, blocked roads, or whatever. So if people are separated at work, at school, if there are evacuation orders that happen, then we've already got 1 or 2 or maybe 3 pre-designated meeting spots that we'll try for. You know, when you go to Disneyland, what does everyone do? They meet at the clock tower, right?
Right.
If they get separated. So just have a plan.
Right.
مش لوحدك.